No, no. Hmm.
Welcome to another episode of The Couch Show.
Welcome back.
We're your hosts. I'm Lynn. This is
I'm
Ray.
Ray.
Sibling rivalry. Welcome
What
to the
up, everybody? How was everybody's weekend?
Tris is on already. Hey guys, how's it
What's
going?
up, Tris?
The
I
weekend.
can't believe it's already Tuesday. That's crazy.
I can't believe how cold it is. Oh my gosh, the temperatures are dropping.
Yes, it is. It's freezing.
Yeah. I pulled out all the winter coats. My kids all are with the faces as I sent them out in the morning with the coats on, but that's it. It's cold.
Yeah,
man.
the intro made me sad because it was like nice warm weather. The intro, and I was like, oh, can we get back to that? I was like, damn, man.
Yep, the change of season.
Missing that weather.
Though, that's what's nice about living in the Northeast is that we do get to experience all the seasons.
We do, but like I was talking to my youngest the other day, it was like we love summer, right? We love the summer. And then the fall and spring, we like it, right? Because fall has fall activities, right? Spring is leading into summer.
Donuts.
But then we were like, the winter. And it's like, the reality is like, we got to go through the winter to have those. So it's like, we deal with it. That's what we said. We don't like it, we deal with it. So we deal with it because
winter comes and everyone hibernates.
Yep. And then
winter comes and everyone hibernates. Yeah, I guess he's like, hello. Hey, Oracle.
He got bigger.
Yeah, he is getting big. You're just coming up here and chilling, saying hello.
I don't know what you feed your cats. Like, are you feeding them like whole chickens or something? Because they got like. Next time I go to her house, that cat's gonna look like a panther. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Oh man, we got so much to talk about today. So much news. It's so much news. It's crazy. Pop culture news. It's still going crazy. World culture. Political. World War III is starting.
Right.
It already is. As much as I'm hoping that it doesn't, it's still stupid too, for such stupid reasons. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. But I got the most important question I got is so how was Hocus Pocus 2?
So Hocus Pocus 2 was, I can't even say. I didn't watch the whole thing.
You didn't watch the whole thing?
No, I ended up getting distracted. The kids saw it. I was in the kitchen, just like cooking stuff up. So I really didn't pay attention to the movie. But I did enjoy myself. Like the scenes that I did catch, I was pretty pleased with it. I really didn't see too much of like messaging in there. I was like, oh, this is a nice movie. I have to rewatch it like officially, and then I'll give my opinion.
I was seeing the bad reviews. That's why I didn't want to say anything. I was like,
oh no.
I'll just wait to see what Lynn has to say.
No, but I'll show you guys my ceiling. Oh, like all my decorations.
Oh, you went all in. Okay.
Yeah, I went all in.
All right, good.
We have decorations everywhere. Underneath my TV, it says Hocus Pocus. I put a spell on you. I've got the 3 witches on my window. We decorated. We did everything for Hocus Pocus.
All right. But you haven't watched it. You haven't focused.
No. So, Tadashi, good morning. Hey, I have a question. If a guy slapped you and asked for forgiveness, what is the right thing to do?
Wait, so a guy slapped another guy? Is that what we're getting at?
Now, if a guy slapped you and asked for forgiveness, what is the right thing to do?
See, I'm from a different time. First off, guys don't slap guys.
Okay.
Second off, me and him would have been fighting, and then we would have been cool afterwards. But like whatever's going down, we needed to get that aggression out, and then afterwards be like, "Yo, you want a beer? Yeah, sure."
Yeah, so Trist is asking for clarification. He's like, a guy slapped a guy?
Guy. Yeah, guy slapped a guy.
Girl. So a guy hit a guy. Damn. I feel like with guys, like, I don't know. I'm not really around guys like that.
Once again, I
thought with guys, it's like, like that's just like that testosterone. It's almost like,
it's not because it's a slap. If it was testosterone, it would be a punch. It's not. I'm telling you right now, the guy who slapped who is feminine. So then you got to treat him like a woman and put him on a timeout. That's it. I'm like, listen, guys don't slap each other. That's not how we roll. If it's something that, like, if I was so angry at you that I gotta hit you, I'm either, I don't know. The way I'm looking at it,
you censored yourself. You were like, I'm not even gonna say what I would do. Just know, hands are gonna
fly. This was my last fight, and I told you, like, my last fight was when I was in the Marines. We were marching to class, and there was the turnstile. Well, there was more fights after that, but this is the one I clearly remember. But we were walking to the turnstile, and the dude like tried to do some bitch ass move at me, and I trapped him into the turnstile. I reached in it with my arm, and I just started slamming his head to the side of the turnstile. So half of his face was all bloody, and I had to, go in front of my sergeant and explain what happened. Another fight I had was me and this guy. We were out in Baltimore, right? And this guy just started. I wasn't really I wasn't trying to fight. The guy I was with was trying to break the fight up. And so it was like 2 against 1. So I had to get jumped in. So then I started choking some guy out. But that's what I'm saying. Like when guys fight, it's like primitive. Like we're freaking choke each other out. We're slamming dudes on the ground. This is why like they say most martial arts really don't work. Like you got to learn mixed martial arts because most fights end up on the ground. Right? That's how shit is. Right? We're looking for a weapon. We're doing like that's how it is. If a guy comes, like I slap myself all the time. I don't understand that. Like I'm not taking that serious. That to me is like a chick. And if a guy is gonna act like a woman, then you treat him like a woman. That's it. So how would you treat a woman if a woman slapped you? That's my question.
Ma's on. Hey Ma, good morning. Hello, my dear children. I'm watching the show. Love you guys so much. Love you too, Ma.
Love you, Mom. And Friday was really cool. Me and Mom went
she said hello too.
Uncle.
Hey, Mom.
It was good to catch up with family. I saw my grandmother. I saw my uncle. It was a good day. Friday. So yeah. So Lynn.
Well, so let me read the follow up. So Tadashi says a guy slapped me. I called my boys on him and he ran away. And the next day he came to me and asked for forgiveness. I forgave him, and I saw him last week. And I'm just feeling guilty that I've forgiven him.
Maybe because you should have went in on his weak ass. But no, I'm just saying, you know what?
I feel like at this
you're
point,
a better person
missed
than
opportunity.
You held it together.
And good on you. Yeah, good on you.
Good on you for forgiving him. Better
give in to violence.
Violence is not the answer. But I honestly. I probably would have. Look, if a guy slaps me, I'm probably gonna laugh. That's my thing. I'm just gonna laugh, and I probably will forgive him because at this point in my life, I really don't want to be getting in fights anymore. So good on you. Good on you. You were the better man. But that's like Will Smith when Will Smith went and slapped Chris Rock. That shit was hilarious.
Right.
I was just like, that's why Will was like. I mean, that's why Chris was like, what am I supposed to do? He slapped me like a bitch. Like to me, it's just hilarious. I don't know. Like even women, like when a woman slaps you, even though they're like really pissed and they do it, like there's some hurt behind it because they're pissed off. Even then, I'm like, if I put my hands on her, I'm gonna end up in jail tonight. I'm not doing it. It's not worth it. So
I don't know, man. Whichever reaction, you feel like you should have had at the moment. So they're, having a delayed response isn't, the best way to handle it. I think you did was right. It seems like you walked away from the situation.
But see, Tadashi's saying he's conflicted, and I know why you're conflicted, because you didn't solve the issue correctly. And I know this is going to sound like toxic masculinity, but guys, we tend to address issues through violence. That's how men are. It's like he needed to fight this dude, right? And get all that aggression out. And then afterwards, they'll be the best of friends. I've lived it. I've done that. I've seen it. That's how it is. It's like you got to fight shit out. This season, I don't know if you guys saw the season, if you guys are watching Cobra Kai, but that's kind of like what happened in this season, spoiler alert for this season. And it's that's how it's supposed to be. Johnny's old school, but that's how we relate. It's like, yo, fight your aggression out, get that shit out, whatever you're beefing about, and then you're cool. So I get it. This is why Tadashi's feeling conflicted right now, because he's like, well, society's telling me I should be the better man and move on, but I don't know. I don't feel right. This is not sitting right with me.
Right. I don't know how to get it out. I have this guilt, and I'm trying to move on. It's been 3 years.
3 years of you two needed to whoop each other's ass.
I wanted to beat his ass, basically. I wanted to beat him, but he came to me literally crying and shaking, asking for forgiveness.
Hey, you got to toughen that boy up. I'm telling you, man, that's what it is, man. I called it from the get-go. I was like, if a man slaps another man, he's feminine. And look, he's even saying he came crying and trembling and all this. That's not a man. He needs to get his ass beat so he can toughen up a little bit. That's one of the things that society has failed men, and that we don't have that rite of passage anymore. For the most part, it used to be the military. When you would go, if you were a punk ass kid and you joined the military, you come back and you were straightened away, right? It was, for the most part, that was like the rite of passage. But now, even then, the military has gotten so soft that there's no real rite of passage anymore when it comes to men. This is why men are lost. This is why somebody like Jordan Peterson, which I wanted to talk about him. I don't know if we'll talk about him today or Thursday, but so many men gravitated to him. And the simple message was, he started out with, clean your room. Like, that's what the first thing. And now society is, demonizing him. They're going against him. They're attacking him. They're, because he's going against the agenda, because he's empowering men.
Right.
Like, he's literally telling them, like, yo, step up. If you don't like your life, step up and make it better. And that's part of that, what men are supposed to do, which is that, kill the inner child, have that rite of passage, and become a man, which most men don't know how to do that. So yeah, I could see he needs an ass whooping. And it's funny too, because I told my boys, I was like, yo, if by 18 years old, if you haven't been punched in the face, I'm punching you in the face. That's what I told them. So they all scared. They're like, oh shit, that's gonna punch us in the face. I'm like, because I feel like that's like going into fights and all that stuff. I don't like and don't get me wrong. I'm happy in a sense that society was tackling, don't be a bully, don't be obsessive with bullying and stuff like that. But then in some stuff, you got to understand that if you keep like with this whole whiny culture, everybody's going to be weak. So at some point, you need to learn how to stand up for yourself. So in a way, like, I get it when we don't need bullies, because bullies do have a mental toll on people. But in a way, we do kind of have to have that bully, just so you have that moment where you do stand up for yourself. And then you build up that self-confidence. You build up that courage, right? You build up that next level where you're like, wow, this was something that I was scared of, and I overcame it. You get what I'm saying? And that's what directly with your bully, right? Like when you I don't know about you, but when I was in school and my bully finally had enough, and I was like, and I just punched him and he got shook. It was like, oh shit. Like, that to me was like another level of like, man, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
Right?
I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I was like, the first time I had any kind of like altercation, the girl, I was really young, I was like 11 years old. I had no business fighting, and she was just, I had enough. I went to her. I said something, real bitchy. I was 11-year-old girl, and she stood up and I just swung at her as she was raising. And then she kind of just sat back down and she cried. And I felt really bad. And I was like, well, shit, like, I was the violent one. I brought the violence in that situation. I
And
don't
most of
know.
the
That is
times after
hard.
you fight it out, then you start to talk about it, and then you realize, yo, my past been, the reason why I'm acting and lashing out like this is because I have a troubled past and shit like that. That's when you start realizing things. But first, you got to get through that first level of like, why the fuck you bullying me kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it's, and mom's like, no, stop promoting violence. And it's like, this is why society is weak. This is why men are lost. This is why men are lost. And as exactly as I say it, I think about it though, women do the same thing. Like Lynn just said, women fight it out. And then the next thing you know, maybe they won't be friends. They'll be like, oh, fuck that bitch. But most of the time, men do tend to be friends. Like once they get that aggression out, then they get like, yo, we settled our beef. We took care of it.
Ma, what do you think about the situation? I know you're saying don't provoke violence, but how do you feel, he should handle it? What should he do? It's really bothering it. It's weighing heavy on his mind, it's affecting him.
Listen, the way of the nice is not working. That's all I'm saying. We've been having the nice for at least last 10, 20 years, and it's turning out more and more that men are weak, right?
Well, I think
we're in a society that says men are weak.
I feel this is an excellent segue into like today's topic because, with us facing World War III, if you look at, young men today are 17, 18, 22-year-olds, like, what are we going to do?
You just said, we said, was a few episodes ago that most people are not feeling that call to join the military.
Yeah.
Why? Because society is forgetting about men. Society are not, there is no sense of, hey, I'm this boy and I need to learn how to be a man, right? There's no trial passage. There's none of that no more. Like they're getting brushed to the side. And it's funny because once again, Jordan Peterson talked about all the stuff. He's getting bamboozled by, I got a clip for that. I actually watched Saturday Night Live this weekend. It was the premiere, which, I fell off of that show. But I was like, you know what? Every so often, I heard over the summer, the cast was moving all around and all that. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and take a look. And sure enough, there was like 3 clips of them making fun of men. There's even one clip where it's like men don't have game, men can't talk to women, men can't do shit. And so in society, Ma could sit here and it's like, no, stop promoting violence. But then Ma is old school and she likes the manly men.
Right.
But then you got men here who are acting like women, feminized, and nobody wants to say anything about that. Like that's the tragedy that's happening right now. And nobody wants to say anything about that. So,
So Ma saying Tadashi did good because he followed what the Bible says, turn your other cheek. You know what? I have a question for you, Tadashi. Like, is it making you feel as though do you feel a way about it because of like your perceived expectation around the situation? Like, do you feel like, oh, maybe it's like challenging your manhood, the fact that you didn't,
he feels emasculated? Is that what you're asking?
Is that what you're feeling?
Emasculated?
Yeah.
Because men are supposed to address things in a different way? Hey, I
think it's, something, it happened 3 years ago and this is going to require.
It's building. It's been building up for 3 years. It's been building up for 3 years. And then finally the guy took the swing on it last week. Took a smack at him last week. So, hey, don't listen. We're in a gynocentric society. So that's the matriarch has spoken. And this is how you got to be. And then they wonder why men are just lost in society. It is what it is. If he really was supposed to turn the other cheek, he would feel good about it. He would feel good about it. Right now, he'd be like, I did the right thing. But he doesn't. He feels conflicted. Those are emotions you can't erase. Those are emotions you can't put away. And then when he bottles up, that's just going to come up to something else. So maybe that wasn't a way to address it. And once again, Mom's like, oh, the violence, but you don't understand the violence I'm talking about. The violence I'm talking about is you get into a scrap, and then afterwards you guys hash it out.
Right.
So the scrap led to the actual talking and resolving of the issue, and you both feel better for it. See, that's what women don't understand, how men understand through scrapping like that. Like once again, my biggest bully. If I was to listen to Ma, right, my biggest bully. One, I wouldn't have addressed it, and two, he wouldn't be my best friend today because I would have turned the other cheek and I would have walked away.
Right.
See, but I addressed it the way I knew how, and then we ended up talking, and now fast forward, we're best of friends. See, men handle things a different way, and we got to acknowledge that we're not all the same. And I hate that society keeps wanting to make men act like women, and then y'all be like, "Oh, I don't like why these men are so sensitive. Why they're so soft. Men are so soft."
Honestly, it's not just the men, it's the women now too. Like our entire society has become very, very weak. And I just feel like our society is slowly degrading. It's not even slowly, it's like happening right in front of our faces. I feel as though, like
intentionally degrading. It's getting to a point where like it's literally making the Bible seem true. Like, oh shit, like everybody's just living in
sin.
In sin, pretty much. Yeah, that's what you want to call it. Yeah, it really is. And so it's like you're seeing that, and there's no growth. There's no growth. Everybody's acting like little kids out here.
Right.
And yes, you can grow through violence if you know how to do it the right way. You can't tell me no, because people are in MMA gyms all the time beating the shit out of each other, and yet they have a brotherhood. They sit around afterwards. I was part of that gym. I went to an MMA gym, and afterwards, after you beat, you're over here fighting, choking each other out and all this, afterwards you're sitting around and it's like, yo, do you need anything? What's up? It's a brotherhood. So men do need violence. You can try to neuter them all you want, and all you're going to do is you're going to end up having them on pills, because that's what happens a lot, right? Oh, you have ADD, here's some Ritalin or whatever the pills are, right? Oh, you're going to have them neutered with pills because they don't have an outlet to get that violence out or that competition out, right? You're going to, just have boys out here running with, saying they're men, but they got little boy energy.
I don't know. Tadashi, maybe you just need to sit on it a little longer, and he's just going to say something one day and you're just going to let your hands fly. Like if that's what's like in your heart, it's what it is, man. But I honestly think that you need to do some inner work and like reflect on it and see exactly what the thoughts are that are creating this feeling. Because your thoughts create your feelings create your actions create your results. So there's a message on replay in your mind that's making you feel this, like this just heaviness that you're feeling about the situation.
But don't let it boil up, because honestly, look at a lot of the past school shootings that happened. They were kids that were bullied, right? They were kids that were bullied, and they went apeshit shooting up a school because they kept it bottled up. Or I guarantee if they would have addressed their bully and fought them head on and let that out, there wouldn't be no school shooting. So once again, you gotta have an outlet for that.
Yeah. So there was another unfortunate event right here in Orange County, over in Newburgh, at their they had a high school football game over the weekend, and there was a shooting and 6 people were shot. I haven't heard any fatalities, but like my thoughts and prayers are with their families, because that I feel like that's one of the school districts that, in the mornings when you're listening for like the 2-hour delays and everything, like they're part of our community, like they come up in that list, and it's like, oh, when you hear them, it's like, oh, well, their school is closed, like our school's gonna be closed, kind of thing. So it's really close to home right now.
My advice is, Dashi, if you really don't want to fight the guy, fine, don't do it. But I would say look into joining, an MMA gym or something like that. Get that aggression out somehow. And it's controlled aggression, right? So it's like you're learning how to do the moves. You're learning how to fight. And there's nothing wrong with it as a guy to learn how to fight. Just hope that you never have to use it. Right. So that's my advice. Join an MMA gym and get that shit out of you somehow. Don't keep that anger bottled up. That's not healthy. Which most people tell you that, oh, walk away, but you're still angry. How are we supposed to address that?
Right. All right, so I'm going to pull up our first clip.
As you saw on the tagline, Lynn is trying to. Lynn is getting us. This video is gonna get blocked. She said straight up war crimes.
Yep. Let's see. All right, so this is our former president, Trump. I believe, you know what? I'm going to play the clip because I might have them confused and I might be talking about a completely different clip.
Have you heard of Executive Order 14067? Most people probably haven't, but it could completely.
Oh, man, you guys have to listen to my ads, too.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I thought I was ready.
Wait, hold on. Pause. So I'm going to put some context behind this. It is coming from Memology 101. He's doing the people's work right now. Yes, it's a meme channel, but he's putting some context behind the truth back here. Like, he is showing you just the double standards. He's showing you like clips from the news, showing you like, yo, this is what they say, this is what they do, kind of deal. So yes, we do this from most of our clips are come from Memology 101. Shout out to him. If you guys don't watch him, go over, subscribe, show love over there. But he's definitely like, I love it. He's definitely a great source. Oh, what happened, man? I lost you. So, go ahead and play the clip.
So Trump made some outrageous claims about German energy at the UN, and the German delegation's reaction was priceless. So September 2018.
Reliance on a single foreign supplier can leave a nation vulnerable to extortion and intimidation. That is why we congratulate European states such as Poland for leading the construction of a Baltic pipeline so that nations are not dependent on Russia to meet their energy needs. Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign powers.
They laughed at him. That was the response. Everybody
How it's going. Just in, Germany plans to temporarily reactivate coal and oil-fired power plants by decree in case Russia cuts off gas exports to the country. And this was May 2022. So this is this year.
So this was right after the Ukraine invasion, right? Russia invades Ukraine, and this was a few months afterwards. So Germany is in preparation now. They're rushing and they're going through. Fast forward now, what I'm hearing is that Germany is putting power consumption limits on their people. They are telling them that they cannot use they can't use more than this much power. They can't heat their homes more than 66 degrees. That's what I was hearing. So Trump called it, but let's keep going.
All right. So let's go to the next one. We have a couple of them here for you guys. They're just back to back.
So how is Russia getting, natural gas and oil and all that to Germany and, most of Europe? It's through this pipeline, right? That's called the Nord Stream pipeline. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, well, let's play the clip. I'll let you play the clip. I'll let the clip talk.
Meet the brand new.
Oh my God!
Oh, more commercials. How it started.
Again, how it started.
With regard to Nord Stream 2, we continue to have very strong and clear conversations with our German allies, and I want to be clear with you today. If Russia...
Pause this real quick. So this lady that's talking, by the way, if you dig deep into her background, her hand's been involved in every military conflict the U.S. has had for at least the last 20 years. By the way, this lady has been very deep in all of that. So once again, before, and I know I told this to you, I told this to Ma, but during the 2020 elections, I said it. I was like, if Trump loses, we're gonna go to war. We're gonna be in some kind of conflict. I said the conflict is gonna happen within a year or two of the next term, and that's it, because the warmongers are looking for war. This is how they do. They've been doing this. Look at Afghanistan, 20 years. Look at how we pivot. Look at how we pivoted through after 9/11, right? After 9/11, we were all patriotic. We were all like, yes, let's go get them, right? And then it pivoted. It went from Afghanistan is housing, Osama bin Laden, who did 9/11. Let's go get this guy. It pivoted to weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, right? Turned out there was no weapons of mass destruction, right? That was the biggest lie. To me, that was the biggest red pilling of it all, right? Because I lost a friend in the Iraq conflict, right? He was serving in the army. He was blown up by an IED, right? And so I was outraged, and I was like, why are we fighting this war in Iraq when Afghanistan is supposed to be the enemy? And why are we going in here? We were lied to. So that's where I started getting politicized, and started looking into like, the media lies to you. These are the lies they tell you. So that's what got me going. And if we see those lies there, get ready. We're gonna see more and more lies. She's part of that whole movement, right? She was under Cheney at the time. She's part of every major conflict that happened, and part of that spin machine. She's there. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Okay, and this was in January this year.
Yes, right before Russia invaded. So these are the threats that they're putting out before Russia invades, saying, "Hey, if Russia invades, this is what we're planning on doing."
If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Let me answer this first question.
Next month, February.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
But how will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
How it's going. All right, so the gas pipeline, these what was in the headlines?
27th of September, so a few weeks ago, yeah.
Just end of September, we're at the beginning of October now. Sweden's prime minister says Nord Stream leaks seen as deliberate acts. Nord Stream leaks caused by deliberate actions, Denmark's prime minister says. U.S. blew up Russia gas pipelines, Nord Stream 1
allegedly.
And 2.
We'll say allegedly with this. We'll say allegedly. But my questions is, and that's the leak. That's crazy. So that's the oil that's just leaking out. So all your environmentalists out there who wants to cry about, Green Act and save it. Look, they don't care about the planet. Look at what they're willing to do when they need to. They don't care about the planet. Which I was saying that anyway. I was like, all these leaders who want to complain, but they still flying in big ass jets, polluting all the environment. But let's keep on track as far as what we're talking about. So we gotta say allegedly, because no evidence and no proof is out there. But I asked myself, like, why would Russia want to take down their only source of income? Like, they're big on exporting oil out to Europe. Why would they want to take that down? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it makes sense at all.
Why would they self-sabotage themselves so they can get sympathies? They're already bad guys. Nobody's going to give them sympathies. But there's recorded openly threats from the U.S. saying, "Hey, look, we will do this if you do this."
Yeah. And think about how bold our leaders are to sit here and say it outright, like, we will do this. That's our president. That's our current sitting president. We are going to do this just months before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not allowed.
If any other country,
allowed to speak on it.
Yeah, if any country did something like that to the U.S., it would be open terrorists. Or open
Absolutely.
terrorism and
It'd be
open
all over
grounds
the
to go to war.
news. We would choose a new color ribbon to put on everybody's tree outside their house, and it would just be, oh
Yep.
my God, we're under attack from another country. But
And
it's a double standard.
Take it one step further. If what was happening in Ukraine was happening in Canada, right? The U.S. would be like, we have no other grounds but to go back into Canada and retake Canada. We got to go into Canada. We have to invade for freedom. That's what the United States would put a spin on. And so, us talking about it, us bringing it to attention, and once again, the mainstream media is not talking about it. You know what they're talking about now? NATO came out and put a threat saying that if Russia retaliates in any way, they're gonna go to war. Recently,
which is kind of weird because it is these were our troops. These were our it's our side that acted first. So now we're saying, oh well, if they do something bad,
retaliate, yeah,
we'll be at war. Like, wait a minute, didn't we already commit the first act of war?
We did, and this is where this is where I don't understand. Like, how do you expect, once again, but I see the normies out here, and I know the normies ain't watching this. Normie ain't asking questions. They're just going with whatever CNN is saying, right? But I don't see how you get people to want to fight in a war that is not even in their own backyard. So that leads me to the next question. Remember what happened after 9/11? I did see an uptick. I was in the military. I saw a very high uptick of patriotic people joining. So does that mean that we're probably going to have a terrorist attack here on our hometown? Could that be a false flag that might happen?
Right.
To spur and motivate people to join, and then want to fight Russia. I'm calling this stuff out like I see it. This is the stuff that I call out, and I get labeled all the time as a conspiracy theorist, right? When I talk about friends and I talk about, but wait a minute, none of this shit makes sense. And I'm just questioning. I'm just questioning it logically. Like, none of this makes sense. Like, why would you believe in all this? But I hope so. Drunk, I hope so. But it looks like they're going full force. NATO already said, listen, if any kind of retaliation, we're gonna fight. We're united and we're gonna fight. Everybody and their mama believe U.S. blew up the pipeline. Yeah. So and we got another clip. There's evidence. We got another clip. But once again, the mainstream media is not talking about this. This is not the narrative. That's not the narrative. And so people like me, me, Lynn, John, the people, who question and ask for these things, we're the only ones finding it out. But the normies, they're straight on still CNN. They're still on MSNBC. They're still on all these medias that are putting in the spin to make it seem like it's Russia's bad. Listen, I was like questioning both sides. I wasn't going to say that I was on Russia's side, but when Russia invaded Ukraine, I was like, what did Ukraine do? And I started investigating. Sure enough, there was some stuff Ukraine did too. But they want to make it seem like Ukraine is so innocent. Oh my God, an invasion. Oh my God, I got to have these flags out here. And everybody put the flags out there. And once again, I'll walk around my neighborhood and I see a lot of Ukraine flags and no American flags.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, what country is this? And then every week I see us sending billions and billions and billions of dollars over to Ukraine. So it's like, here we go. World War III. And it's starting for lies. And it's like, we got to call out these lies to say, we don't want to fight this war. This is stupid. Right. Why are we fighting a war? We don't need to. It's 2022. We don't need to fight wars. We can make peace. We had 4 years of peace with the last president. Right? Nominated twice for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
For peace talks in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We had peace for 4 years. Now all of a sudden he gets into office and bam, World War III starting.
And as Trump said, like, the timing couldn't be worse. We're going into the winter. We're going into the coldest month, to take away like that source, that valuable resource from all those people. For what? For what? This is acts of terrorism. Let's throw it out there. Let's start using
you look at the economy. You look at the economy, and the economy is still doing this, right? The economy is on a nosedive.
Yeah.
Like, it is crashing. I thought it was going to crash this week. Because the most if you look in history, most major crashes, like the 2008, most major crashes happen in October. So I was like, oh, first week of October. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's next week. Who knows? But the economy's tanking. What spurs the economy? A war.
Right.
So who makes money during wars, right? You got to ask all those questions, right?
Europe is in a very, very sharp economic downturn.
That's what I just said.
Sharp decline of output and living standards also shows up as a rise of prices. But the main fact is that the European economy is getting hammered by the sudden cutoff of energy. And now, to make it definitive, the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, which I would bet was a U.S. action, perhaps U.S. and Poland. This is
right, Jeff, we got to stop there. That's quite a statement as well. Why do you think that was U.S. action? What evidence?
Pause it. Because once again, like, this is mainstream media. This is exactly what they do. You can never say the U.S. is bad, right? You can never say U.S. is the bad guys. They're the aggressor in this situation. You can never attack them, right? So the mainstream media instantly, right? They instantly pop out in defense, right? And this guy's like, I got proof. Like, I got proof. Like, what do you want? and sure enough, this is what they do. And it's sad because we got to start calling this out because they're doing this all with our money. That's the scary part. They're starting a World War III, which none of the taxpayers want. We don't want that.
Right.
You know what we want? We want cheaper gas and cheaper food. That's it. The economy's hurting. We want that. We want to go back to how it was back in 2020.
Yeah.
Back like how it was with the last administration.
Did you send me the video that showed the breakdown of the most recent bill or whatever that the president signed into, where they sent I think it was like $5 billion more towards Ukraine? Well,
I calculated. I think they sent so far $100 billion to freaking Ukraine.
Shit.
This is crazy. This is crazy because that could have helped with I don't know, opening another pipeline here in the U.S. so that we can get our own fuel and gas prices could go down to help working parents, helping working families, right? It's like, this is why are we paying taxes for this? I don't understand that. I do not want to pay taxes so that you could eventually go and kill my kids.
Right.
Because you drafted them in a silly, stupid ass war. Like, I don't understand this whole, like, why are people not outraged? Why are we here sitting at home? We're talking about it on YouTube, right? It's just the two of us, but I feel like there's not many people out here. You know, the normies don't care. And yet we're going straight towards a war. And yet they'll go, 2024 elections. Oh, well, we can't have the guy who says mean things. No. As we continue going straight to war. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And like, yet I still keep trying to say something. Because I'm like, let's stop this shit. Let's stop. I don't want to go to war. It's the worst thing possible. I don't want to see that in my lifetime. Let's not do that. We've had years of peace, right? Why can't we proceed forward? Why can't we talk up to each other as humans? Why do we have to, demonize each other? That's one thing that Trump did. He said that, you say he's our enemy, let's go talk to that guy. And he got crucified for that, for talking to other leaders, right? They made it say, oh, he's a Russian puppet. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. All the lies that the media said, right? Mind you, after the 2016 election, right? Mainstream media, Rachel Maddow, all those stations, all those people, right? They question the election nonstop. They question it, right? But then you got people from January 6th. They're still locked up in prison for questioning the election.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Junk's going in. I love Junk. Thank you, Junk, man. You always going in. You got so much comments. I love it. You know what? As long as I'm resonating with somebody, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep ringing the alarm. This shit is crazy. So let's read some of Drunk's comments, and then we'll go back to the clip.
Okay. So it says, look, let me pull this up. Look at what we did in retaliation for Pearl Harbor or the Trade Center. That was 9/11. Imagine what we would have did over a $10 billion oil pipeline.
Now leave his comment on, and I'm saying it's coming, Drunk. It is coming, because once again, the numbers, as far as if they really want to, if this war is planned out and they really want to have a World War III, which it seems like everything is a go for it, they need people, they need bodies. And so at first they're going to want people to volunteer. So there's going to be some kind of act on within our country, some terrorist attack or something, kind of like 9/11, kind of like Pearl Harbor, that's going to get the motivation of the normies to say, yes, I want to go fight. And then that's where they're going to get their high enlistments to go and fight this war. And then once after that's over, then the next round, they're going to start drafting. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm not going to let my kids, get killed for a stupid-ass war.
So I'm going to be honest. Everything America is doing is a last-ditch effort to stay number one because China and Russia are on the heels. It's not just China and Russia. I mean, I feel like even like Ray, shared a clip of me that we'll, bring to you guys on Thursday with like AI innovations, where there are other countries who they take pride in, building robots and pushing, technology and pushing that boundary. It's like you look at the US, what are we producing? We're producing chaos.
Our society
is frowned upon by most nations in the world. I don't even feel that pride anymore to be like, oh yeah, I'm an American. Like, no, let's not. Like I do believe we are privileged.
We are highly toxic, and the dollar's collapsing. Pride. The dollar's collapsing, which used to be. Remember, why is the U.S. dollar so important? Because it was globally trusted, right? It was globally trusted, and now it's starting to fall apart. Russia, China, Brazil, I think parts of Africa, they're all coming into agreements where they're going to start creating their own like global currency. If this happens, and let's say it's crypto and they create their own and they're backing it, they're saying we're going to back it with oil, we're going to back it with our manufacturing, we're going to back it with all the stuff we have, that just kills the U.S. dollar. And Drunk, you're right. The U.S. economy is going to tank if nobody trusts the U.S. dollar. So this is, I could see why U.S. is gung ho. Maybe I understand more why they're sending billions of dollars to start this conflict. Because you know what? They're using, it's almost like Ukraine is a Trojan horse for war, right? They're putting all this money into Ukraine so that they could say, all right, this is it. We're going to start this war.
Drink said, I'm going to fake an asthma attack before the draft.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
Yep. I always say America was built for a good time, not a long time. And you know what? That's something else I've been hearing recently. Like, if you look at our history, we really don't have a long history.
We don't.
Like if you think about empires, like think about like the Chinese empires and even like in Greece, the Roman empires, they were built on something. And
they say that most empires,
most empires what?
Sorry. They say most empires last 250 years.
Okay. And aren't we like approaching that?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank God my kids have passports. Holy crap.
But it's crazy because we look at history, right? And we look at history and we ask like how could the people in Germany just sit there and let Hitler happen, right? Or how could the people in Germany just, why did they stop this? And look at what's going on now. Look at what's going on now in the U.S. And look at how many people are not saying anything. Are you muted?
Yeah, just for a moment.
You yelling at the cat?
No, I'm yelling at the kids. Everybody just walked in the house. I was like, oh crap. We had our district had early dismissal, but I thought it was like a 15-minute early dismissal. And my kids are walking in, and I'm like, holy crap.
They all walking in like, hey!
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So Drunk said technology is definitely leveling the playing field. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because technology has evolved to a point where now we could possibly break away from the financial clutches that is, the Federal Reserves and the the U.S. government. So you're right, and with the evolution of technology, we also have the evolution of warfare. So we're not in that whole like boots on the ground. I mean, we're still seeing those kind of conflicts, but we're already, if you want to think about it, we're already in a World War III.
Right.
Because it's who's controlling social media, who's controlling technology.
Which is really sad too.
Whose message is going out?
Divided. We're a nation that's divided. Like you think of every single ism and every issue that everyone wants to jump on and say, oh, well, I relate to this and I want to jump on this side. And like, so we're in the midst of a civil war. Wow, our leaders are trying to take us into World War III.
I would take it one step further and say we are in the midst of a civil war and World War III. Because if you look at who, all right, so here in the States, we're divided because of everything that's going on through social media and technology, right? Twitter and all that, right? All that's buzzing, all this woke culture. But who's funding that? Question, who's funding that? And once again, there's a saying, for you to know who's in power, you got to know who you cannot make fun of, right? So we don't talk about the Chinese culture and all the craziness that's happening in China. You see that they're in bed with Hollywood. You see that they're in bed with the NBA. You see they're in bed with all these different things that are coming out, that are politicizing all of this, this divisiveness and all this like tension that's happening in the United States. So maybe China's already been fighting World War III with us. And they said, we're going to fight it through your social culture. Look at TikTok.
Yeah.
Look at how TikTok came through.
I heard a story of a lady in China. She got thrown in prison because of her social media, because she was basically, mimicking our Western culture. She was putting herself out there in a very sexualized manner. They didn't tell her, hey, they didn't slap her with a ticket. They didn't give her a warning. They threw her ass in jail and said, stop degrading our society. And that kind of hit me, because why is it that in other countries you get tickets for cursing in public, you get thrown in jail for being, too sexualized online? Why is it that in our society we're embracing that culture? It doesn't feel good.
Demoralizing.
Exactly. And it's
patriotism.
But you look at our people and we're hurting.
Yes, we are. And patriotism right now, if you look at it in the US, patriotism equals racism. Now. Right? When you see that American flag, the media is trying to program into you that guy's a racist.
Absolutely. Especially when you see one like on somebody's car and they're driving around with the flag on there. It's intimidating. And it sucks because that message is being created for us. It's like I always say, like, our thoughts create our feelings. So when we see that, the reason why we're having that initial feeling of almost like fearful and feeling like, they're racist because they have our flag, it's because of what we're seeing in social media. It's because of what people are telling us, the ideas that are being implanted in our mind when we're mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, when we're mindlessly scrolling through IG. All these ideas are on repeat.
Yeah. And take it one step further as far as how you say the censoring. What I heard recently, and this may be a rumor, but I heard that China has their own like little foot soldiers here in the US, that if they find somebody here in the US of Chinese descent that is putting like disinformation or making China look bad, they'll come and grab your ass. Oh, wow. And bring you back over there. So it's like, we have like literally it's American. It's been like the patriotic thing to do now is to shit on America and talk bad about it. And I get it. We're doing this right now in our show, because we're saying, hey, look at the stuff we're doing it. But we're just calling out the bad things that our government's doing, right? I love America. Like, I love being patriotic. I love, all that, going out there, having my American flag, celebrating 4th of July and all that stuff. But that's frowned upon now. You can't do any of that stuff.
So it's not even a matter of if this country will collapse. It's when and what's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I think we're in the process of it, to be honest with you. I think Trump was that straw. And I think it's not Trump. I don't say Trump in the way like, oh, he was saying mean tweets. I think it was Trump, the fact that somebody that can come in who wasn't an established politician, who could come in and try to change the system. And the reason why they really hated Trump so much was because he did bring, he awoken the masses, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the people who voted for him. He kind of resonated with them in the sense that he called out the lies in mainstream media. The established government doesn't like that because that's their tool to keep people brainwashed, right? So that's the reason why they went in on him after 2016. They were like, we can't let this guy win again. We can't. He's awakening the people, and we want control of the people.
All right, so I'm going to bring this clip back up.
All right.
And let's listen to, the facts.
So the recapping, the reporter interrupted him. He's like, no, we don't have any facts for that. And now my guy here, he's going to go in. So let's watch him as he goes in.
Well, first of all, there's direct radar evidence that U.S. helicopters, military helicopters that are normally based in Gdansk were circling over this area. We also had the threats from the United States earlier in this year that one way or another, we are going to end Nord Stream. We also have a remarkable statement by Secretary Blinken last Friday in a press conference that he says, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a strange way to, it's a strange way to talk if you're worried about the piracy on international infrastructure of vital significance. So I know this runs counter to our narrative. You're not allowed to say these things in the West. But the fact of the matter is, all over the world, when I talk to people, they think the U.S. did it. And just to tell you, and by the way, even reporters on our papers that are involved tell me privately, of course, but it doesn't show up in our media.
Professor, I want to get into tit for tat about what did or did not happen with Nord Stream, because I don't have the evidence and we don't have a counterbalance to this.
Oh, shit.
And at some point you hear they're like, cut the feed. Like you heard, I heard that when I was watching the clip the first time, and then I sent it to you, and they were like, "Yo, cut the feed." So it was like he went in with facts, and it's like, once again, he's gonna get. Well, I guarantee he's gonna lose his job.
It's a lot of reverse psychology going on these days. Like now, people are saying never vote for somebody that's not a career politician again. Like what? Which is crazy because one of the reasons, when Trump first ran, I was like, wow, I almost had like a sense of relief. I was like, yes, finally somebody who, might not be into politics the way they are, but I felt like, hey, maybe we are going to see a change. And when you look back, we saw a change, and we saw somebody who was, acting in the best interest of our people. Or individuals, like for our leader to sit down with other leaders, that's what we want our leaders to do. We want them to,
make peace, not war.
Yes, yes, peace, not war.
It's hilarious. I love having this because it's my avenue to vent and just let this all out. And this is why I enjoy doing this, because it's like everywhere else I got to deal with the normies, and it's like, how else do we change it? How else do we change, our society from the direction that they're heading, and saying, hey, look, we need to stop. Like we're now threatening. Like I heard Russia's talking about that they have a submarine that they can launch a missile that can cause a tsunami. Where the threat of nuclear war. Now, remember, the last time a nuke was used, this was back in like the 40s, right? So think about the advancement from that technology from then to now. So it's like, these are the stuff that we don't know about, that we could just annihilate ourselves as a human, the human race, just annihilate this planet. And we're just going straight towards it without even a blink of an eye, without batting an eye, without even saying, yo, what are we doing? I mean, we're saying that, we're like, yo, what are we doing? But everybody else is like, yeah, go.
Right.
All right. So mom put a comment. What did Ma say?
That's addressing. I'll bring Ma's comment up in a second. So Jordan just said, I hate when people was like, Trump is racist. Like, bro, they're all racist. Can we at least go with the one who doesn't get down?
And I don't even think
doesn't need help using the bathroom.
I don't even think Trump is racist. Trump is just labeled racist because he became a Republican. Because if you look at some of the clips of Trump back in the day, He was on Oprah. He was getting awards from was it AA, NCP. He was getting all kinds because of the donations he was making to the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, and people came out like, he gave me a job, he was good, and all this. Like people came out with it. No, the mainstream media took that narrative.
Right.
But yet you have clips openly of Biden calling little Black kids roaches, right? And just he did the crime bill.
Clips of him like trying to kiss little girls and stuff.
Yeah, like, that, and then like he signed the crime bill. So there's like constant clips of him. He was even there's a video clip of him with the KKK, but nobody wants. Oh no, he's good. We
seen that one. Holy crap!
Oh, you know what's funny is like this is some of the arguments people keep saying is like, oh, but people can change. People can change. It's like no, you're just trying to fit him in your narrative because you bought into the hype of this guy's bad. You don't like him.
So just to pivot real quick, Ma said, would have beaten him down. You are the better man. I'm proud of you and good job, Tadashi.
Going back to the whole fight?
Maybe the guy took you by surprise.
So now Ma's admitting that she would have beat the guy's ass?
That's what Ma just said. Yes, Ma just said
I've seen Ma do that, yes, in supermarkets. Ma was definitely raised in the Bronx. So I saw some fights of Ma in the supermarket. So yes, Ma's right.
Drunks and Biden said, if you don't vote me, you ain't Black. It was the wildest statement I ever heard during a campaign.
Yeah. And everybody was like, nah, that's the guy. This is the guy. Mind you, the Democrats, it's funny because the Democrats are not for the working people anymore. As you see, most of their like policies and what they align with is for corporate America. So I don't understand why, if you're struggling and hurting in America, why you want to vote for them. I really don't. Like, to me, it makes no sense.
Well, again, like our politics is just another thing that divides us. You know, people latch onto a side, and it doesn't matter that politicians lie all the time. It doesn't matter that politicians, only worry about what's going to make money for them. We still blindly, follow this system. And we're like, all right, we'll go vote. And all right, these are the 2 candidates. These are the 3 candidates. I guess we'll choose from these. Like, we really don't have anyone stepping up the way Trump did, basically, stepping into that world and saying, hey, like, let me try and put a different spin on it. Let me try and use my life experience to help my country.
Right. And once again, I said, like, I don't see somebody coming in like Trump again. I really don't. I feel like they're going to, whatever that narrative, whatever the spin is going to be, they're going to control that tightly, especially now that they have the control of social media. And, they can label things fake news all the time. They're not going to let something like that happen again.
Yeah. Our
and it's sad too
is that they are power hungry and they're money hungry. They're not worried about the common people.
Yeah.
And that's either side. To be honest, that's either side.
And like, if I would have to say, like, if I align anywhere, it's probably like, I'll probably say I'm a libertarian, but do you ever see a libertarian like nominee? No. So when it comes down to voting, it's crazy that it's only 2 sides. And this is what our politics evolved to. Like, either you're on this side or this side.
Right.
And it's like, it's crazy because I don't even listen, the career Republicans, I don't like those guys. No, I don't. Right. I was just siding with Trump because, once again, he was the outsider. He was the outsider and he was making changes. Because it was funny too, because at first I was just laughing with it, right? But then when he started going, and I was like, oh shit, gas is down cheap. Oh shit, stocks are doing great. Oh shit. Because remember, the stock market was supposed to crash when Trump took office. Because they were like, this guy doesn't know anything about politics. It's going to crash.
Right.
And sure enough, it kept going. Then crypto started going up. Then gas was going down. And it was good times until the very end when COVID hit, right? Mind you, there was more deaths with COVID on Biden's watch than there was on Trump's watch, just to throw that out there. And Trump had the first year without a vaccine. So, right, Drunk. I 100% agree. Trump winning was an accident. They'll never let that happen again. Exactly. Because they didn't take him serious. They really thought that Hillary had it in the bag. They were like, it's her race to lose. So they underestimated.
She lost again.
but see, what they did was they underestimated middle America, right? The flyover states, like Lynn calls them. They underestimated that. and they underestimated the fact that they can unite. Now, fast forward, guess what those, all those individuals are called as? Domestic terrorists. That was all Biden's speech the other day when he gave with all the red lights, and he said, look, we have a case of domestic terrorism out here, and that's exactly who he's talking about. The 80 million people that voted for Trump. That's what they're talking about. And of course, they're going to keep the pandemic going so that we have mail-in ballots and all that, so they can rig and all that. It is what it is, man. I'm telling you, it's the corruption and the downfall of the United States. We're witnessing it. And it breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart because I love this country. And I love the power of the people in this country, what the people can do when they put their hearts to it. But it's sad because we're
losing as a society. We're losing, respect, or losing values. We lack morals. Like, it's sad. It's sad because it's a tremendous opportunity. And I really feel like our leaders, their efforts and their vision is all about control and power and money rather than family and, a higher standard of living. Like if we want to be labeled like number one, if we want to keep that title, hey, US, we're number one. How about we start leading by example?
Right. And I always say, like, I feel like I was born in a different time. Like I should have been born a couple of decades ago because I would have grew up in the 60s and 70s. And granted, I probably would have been poor, but I would have had a community. I wouldn't feel so isolated. And that's one thing that we're missing, that sense of community.
Absolutely.
And they did that on purpose. The first thing they attacked was the communities. I say it all the time. The Black community was one of the strongest communities that they deteriorated. And they did it by saying, "Oh, we're going to help you." They did it with welfare. They did it with all this. They took the father. They took the man out of the household. Right? They took down, like, in the Black community back in the day. They had Black Wall Street. They were homeowners. If you look at all the movies, they used to dress up in suits all the time, right? They took all that away, and they acted like, "Oh, we're going to help you." So, what's next? Who are they going after next?
Drunk said, so what do you think Russia is going to do in retaliation for the pipeline? I'm hearing cyber attacks.
Well, no, they already did it. They said we are annexing, 4 regions out of the Ukraine. And so they're going to say, yep, they voted. This is what they wanted. And we're going to take over that. So they're pretty much taking half of Ukraine. And they're going to say, we're going to control this. And then Ukraine are going to say, well, we're now part of NATO. And now NATO is saying, oh, well, if you're in a foreign army is in one of our NATO nations, we got to go to war. So we're moving right to it, moving right into it. Everything is falling into places. All the domino pieces are falling in. So, unfortunately, it breaks my heart because I really don't want to see this, and I know the Russians don't want to see this. Like you said, you saw the clip of all the Russian guys saying, "We don't want to fight this war."
Right. For this new, fully technology-based world, you have to have complete control of the population.
Yep.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's happening.
All right, so we're an hour in, guys. Everyone who's rocking with us, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for commenting and engaging with us. Everyone who's new to our channel, please subscribe and do consider hitting that bell so you don't miss an episode. We go live Tuesdays and Thursdays, late mornings. And Ray and I mostly just banter about whatever you guys want to talk about. We talk about what's in the headlines in the news. We talk about stuff that's not in the news, but that should be. And we're just giving our perspective on it, which is great that we have this platform. This is what, technology has done for us. It has given us this platform where we can express ourselves and we can have tough conversations.
Why is my background? Why is my behind me look so fake? Doesn't it?
There's no movement fake at all.
Yeah, it looks like it's a blue screen, and that's out my window, man. That's funny. I'm looking at it.
It looks lovely though. The green is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we could pivot from this. It was kind of doom and gloom. Might as well
the
pivot
sky
while we
is
can.
falling. Ah!
might as well pivot while we can. So, in other news, um, you want to do this one?
Let's go for it. I'm ready. I've got all the clips ready, guys.
I feel like we're constantly making fun of Kamala Harris. It's freaking hilarious. Well, yeah, let's go in. This one's hilarious. So I don't know. To put some context, this is Selena Myers. She's an imaginary VP on the hit comedy show on HBO called Veeps, right? And so the whole comedy show, if you guys haven't watched it, it's a great comedy. She's like the first female vice president, and so it goes to show like how the VP has like no power, no role, no nothing, and it's just a great like political satire comedy show. And so they took clips of her along with Kamala Harris and they mushed it together, and it's like it's the same person. It's fucking hilarious. So let's go for a little laugh now.
My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go, and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
All right, then they go into it. Should I play the rest of the clip? I won't play the rest of the clip.
No, we just leave it at there. We can talk about it. But yo, I'm actually shocked that the Daily Show actually did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, like I said, I watched Saturday Night Live and the big premiere over the weekend, and once again they're constantly making jokes for the right side, but they don't make any jokes for the left side when you have the sitting president who can give you an abundance of jokes, which is what Saturday Night Live and like the Daily Show and all these like comedy outlets used to do. They used to make fun of both sides so that you could come to like saying, okay, you know, one's not holier than thou. They both have their gaffes, they both have their errors, they're both just kind of creepy, right? And so for the Daily Show to do this, but it makes sense because I just heard that the host of the Daily Show, he's leaving. Like they booted him, Trevor Noah. So like he was on the show and I guess their ratings tanked. All these shows are their ratings are tanking. Mm-hmm. And we could talk about, you know, woke culture. We can go right into it. That's a perfect segue into it. But all these things are collapsing. And why? Because it's all one-sided. Like if you can't obviously make fun of what people are suffering and the stuff that's going on, make fun of it, but make, you know, like if I'm struggling, right? I'm a typical American. I'm struggling with food, gas, and all that. When I turn on the Daily Show, I don't want you to keep bashing on Trump, the last guy who made things great, right? Mm-hmm. I want you to bash on the guy who's causing all these problems. Like, let me see those jokes, and they're not doing that.
Drunk. That's why CNN is becoming more unbiased.
It is, and they fired a lot of the hosts that were biased. Mm-hmm. And mind you, pivoting to, you know, movies, because I love movies. So just I hear all the stats all around. Not this weekend because Smile just came out as a horror movie leading into October. Mm-hmm. But last weekend, which I believe there was only 2 movies that were. One is that, you know, feminine. It was the Woman King, which is like it's rewriting history in a feminist narrative, right? And then I think that was it pretty much. So last weekend was like the worst box office weekend in 25 years.
Wow.
So yeah, in 25 years. So it's like, and I want to go to the movies. I've been wanting to go to the movies for the minute. And I looked this weekend and I was like, there's no movies I want to go see. Mm-hmm. There was Bros, which is a gay rom-com, right? And there was the Woman King, right? And I was like, I don't want to see any of this propaganda, because I look at it and I'm like, this is not going to be entertaining. This is going to be propaganda,
right?
And mind you, Bros, did horrible in the box office. And the guy, the actor of the movie, he came out and he attacked straight people.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, straight people, this movie's not for you. But then after the movie comes out, he's attacking them like, why? Oh, straight people didn't show up to watch it. The same thing happened. The same thing happened with the reboot of Charlie's Angels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leading into the movie, they were like, "Men, this movie's not for you. Men, don't go see this movie. This movie's not for you." So men don't show up. They don't go see the movie, and they're like, "Oh, it did horrible because men didn't show up." I was like, and you can pull it up. You can literally pull it up. I'm not making this shit up. It's hilarious because I'm like, how do you attack? The customers, and then attack them and say that, oh, it's because they didn't show up. I don't understand it.
Right. So I literally wait for everything to hit a streaming platform. Yeah. I think pay like $80 a month for streaming platforms. I refuse to enter a movie theater.
I've been doing that, but I find everything in the high seas at this point. It's too many streaming platforms. Movie theaters,
like right after high school, when everyone moved away and no one worked at the theater anymore, so I had to suddenly start paying. I was like, I'm not into the movie theaters like that.
Well, I got the movie pass, so I got the AMC movie pass, which is like $20 a month, and I get to go see, I think, 3 movies a week. And even then, that's too much for me because there's not enough good content out there. And I felt like I've been going, like, lately, I have the freedom to go, and I felt like I went more during the pandemic than now. And yeah, so it makes sense where it's like last weekend was the worst box office in 25 years. So that means that even during COVID, they had better box office numbers. Wow, Drunk said the last movie I saw in theater was the NWA movie. Damn, you didn't even see the new Top Gun movie? That was a good movie. Maverick? That was good. That was worth seeing in the movie theaters. But it's crazy because they have all, like, going back to like the gay rom-com, right? I think it was it was like a $20 million budget and only made $4 million. And he's like, oh, that straight America is not ready to see a gay movie. Mind you, Brokeback Mountain broke like movie like expectations, right? It's made like 200 million.
Let's talk.
Movie history. Yeah. Because it was like a list. People were.
My roommate had the DVD. Like that was a big thing when that movie came out.
The Birdcage with Robin Williams. Remember that comedy? Where they were openly gay in that comedy?
No, I'm lying. I was thinking that made history too. Birdcage with the stupid. You weren't supposed to look at anything. You were supposed to cover your eyes. So never. Bird Box is what I was thinking of.
Oh, Bird Box. Yeah, that's that movie. I think it was supposed to be a sequel to that movie. Yes, that is true. Most of the movies, and that's another reason why I haven't really been to the movie theaters, is because within a matter of days, they're on a streaming platform where it's on video on demand. And if it's on video on demand, I could definitely find it on the high seas. So it's like I've been like, oh, Beast. Oh shit! And so I've been watching like all the movies, and I'm like, oh,
Right. People acted like a gay movie can't be trash, and that's the thing. It's
exactly.
not just. It's not. It shouldn't just be like, oh, it's a gay movie. Let's all go see it. It should be like, hey, there's this movie coming out. It has a really cool plot. I want to see it.
Right. And just add, like, it should just be, hey, this movie has a great plot, and then when you go see, you're like, oh shit, it was a diverse cast. Oh my god, this guy was gay. Oh, okay, cool. But it didn't take away from the story.
Right.
But then what they do is, and this is what Hollywood's doing over and over, and I'm hoping they're getting the message, like, stop going woke, because when you go woke, you go broke, right? CNN is seeing it the hard way. CNN is seeing it the hard way. They're they are reshuffling real quick. Saying, we gotta kind of go back to the news. We can't do opinionated stuff anymore because people are hurting. They don't want to hear it.
They were gay. That was a good show.
Right. So it's like if you have good writers, you have good context, you're going to have a great show. And you're going to have people wanting to watch. People are not like that. People just want a good story. Especially nowadays, people just want to escape. Like if I go to the movie theaters, I don't want to think about any of my stuff. I don't want to think about politics. I don't want you rewriting history. That's the thing that gets me. Like everybody's applauding the Women King, and that tribe was supposed to be the tribe that sold. It's a tribe in Africa that sold slaves. And like nobody's like calling that out. Like, wait, what? So it's like Hollywood, man.
I thought we just went into this whole thing with like the slave trade and stuff. It's supposed to be like, we have a whole date for it now, like June 19th. It's an official holiday, and it's supposed to be, end of slavery, yada yada. Let's not talk about that anymore. And then you release
But the thing is
they like, oh, wow.
they want to. But once again, with slavery and with everything else, they want to just say white guy bad for doing it. They don't call about everybody else that was doing it, which everybody else was doing it. So at some point, we need to stop that narrative and say, "Hey, look, everybody else was doing it." Mm-hmm. It's like I don't understand why we can't say that.
Right, exactly. It's the plot isn't there. They're just trying, and that's why Ray calls it propaganda, because they're just trying to push this message, throw it in your face over and over and over
and
again.
And over and over.
They're losing the actual magic of a story.
Right. Once again, yes. I love it. Because Junk is seeing it, and I just want more people to see that. He's like, I'm not gonna rock with the women king, because I feel like the title is trying to blur gender lines. Yes. And it's trying to rewrite history to make it seem like women were, all this that they're not. Don't get me wrong, it could be a great movie, but I just don't want to see it. Because you're coming with that propaganda, and I'm tired of it. I gave too many passes. And at some point, I gotta really stop with Disney, because they're the hardest one with it. I go on Disney again. But it's why I had to ask. How was Hocus Pocus? And you were like, oh, I want to watch it. So
yeah, right. I only saw a couple scenes. I have to watch the whole thing before I pass my judgment.
So I gotta ask this question, because I got some heat on some YouTube comments. So the trailer came out for Black Panther, the new one. It's not called Black Panther 2. It's Wakanda Forever, right? And as we all know, the actor tragically passed away, right? He was dealing with cancer, and he passed away. And so the new movie's coming out, and it showed clearly that his little spoiler for people who didn't see the trailer, but it shows that the new Black Panther is going to be his little sister, right? And so oh wow, 15 and damn, I gotta tell Ollie that he's gonna be like, oh shit. So the trailer comes out. It's gonna be his little sister that's gonna be the new Black Panther, right? And I don't know. I would be outraged with this, because it's like, especially in this day and age where everybody's wanting representation on TV, right? Or in movies. Like, here was a strong Black character on the level of like your Spider-Man, your Superman, your Batman. And they just erased them because the actor passed away. And to me, that I don't understand that. Like, I really don't understand that, especially when you see something like The Little Mermaid, where they're recasting and they're gender swapping. No, not gender swapping, but race swapping, right? Like, they're applauding for that, but then they get rid of Black Panther. Like, I don't understand that. And so I got into like a heated debate, and I was in the comment section, and I was like, yo, why couldn't they recast it? They recast Spider-Man, they recast Batman, they recasted everybody else. Why couldn't they recast them? Tastefully recast them. Like, why not let another, leading Black actor take that role, and let's have that role still prominent on, in movies.
Right. I don't know. So when you first said it, how like, oh, it's gonna be like the younger sister, it kind of made sense, because I know the Black Panther movie, and like she did have
But why does the character have to die? Because the actor died. You see, like, we didn't see that in the movies. The character should not have died.
Yeah, he didn't
T'Challa and the Black Panther should still be alive in that universe. There was no reason to kill him off. Like, just recast him.
You're saying that he's completely gone. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were saying like, oh, like the new movie is just gonna, be prominent with her. But what you're saying is she's actually replacing him as the
in the movie. Yeah. Okay. So the way that I see the trailers, it looks like they're addressing the actor's death in the movie. So they killed off T'Challa, and I'm like, why? That's like you killing off, I don't know, one of the members of the Justice League because the actor passed away. Like I said, we recasted Spider-Man 3 times already. Batman's what, 6, 7 times?
Yeah.
I mean, the actor who played Superman, he passed away,
and
so he got recasted eventually. Like, I don't understand why not recast it and keep going that role on. And once again,
that's what I'm thinking too. Like, is it that it's possible for them to recast him in like a later movie, but because right now, like, it's so prominent about women being in power, they're running with, the younger.
I think that's what it is. I think you nailed it right on the head, because in the trailer you also see the new Iron Man, which is Iron Heart, and once again, it's a female. We have She-Hulk, right, on the show, so I feel like they're gravitating towards, hey, let's make all the Avengers just female now. And then once again, when no males go, they're gonna be like, oh, well, it was the luck of the males.
Right.
Jug said it would have been like Fresh Prince when they switched out the mamas. Yeah, but you got used to it afterwards. And then they had the reunion and they had both of the moms there. So it's like, yo, you get used to it.
Probably they couldn't recast him with the same supporting cast. It would have been weird.
I think so, but I think they would have put their support behind him. Especially if you found somebody new and this was his break or something like that. I think you could have done it tastefully. I think you could have recasted it, but I think Lynn nailed it, where the MCU wants to move forward with the MCU, where everything is female now. I don't think they would have to replace the whole cast. I think the cast was perfect. We got to understand, life happens. It was a tragedy. I don't think just because the character should live on. Characters live on forever, and he should have lived on. It was one movie, right? It was one movie that he was in, supporting movies, other movies, of course, with Avengers and Civil War and all that. But he was in one, Black Panther movie. I think we should have had at least another movie or two before we moved on to the sister, if that's eventually where you want to move on to. There were so many story arcs from the comics they could have done. And the fact that they just didn't even thought about, hey, let's keep the character alive respectfully, because this is what I think this was what the actor would have wanted, because he loved the role so much. Like, if you saw, especially when he was going through he was battling cancer, he was out there dressed up as Black Panther, doing the when they go out for the kids and they dress up like that, the wish, make a wish or something like that. He was doing all of that, and he was making his rounds like that. And he really embraced the character. And so I don't think he would want the character to be killed off because he tragically passed away. And I don't see where's the outrage. Like, I'm like, you see, once again, I feel like it's just Black Twitter just wants to have the outrage and be able to call people racist, right? When they don't agree with the recasting of like Ariel, right? And they're like, oh, it's representation. Well, then where's the representation with the Black Panther? Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't fight for that character to still be in movies. But that's my thing. I was going back and forth. People weren't getting it. Some people were. I was getting a bunch of likes. So I was like, all right, cool.
No, but you're right also, because he was such a strong, Black character for our young Black boys to, look up to and be able to, feel like they are represented on screen. I do see what you're saying. Like, that it is kind of like, okay, why don't we have this character anymore?
Right. It's like, it's kind of like with my son, he likes Miles Morales. He gravitates towards him because he's Hispanic, right? And so I was like, I didn't think anything of it, because I grew up with all these white characters and whatever. I was like, yo, I'm Spider-Man. I didn't say to myself, like, oh my God, he's white. I'm not white. I can't be Spider-Man. Right, acting like I'm Spider-Man. But he does gravitate more with Miles, and he does like Miles more. So I'm like, okay. So maybe there is some truth to it. But you're right in the sense, like your son, he loves Black Panther. And now he's going to go to the next movie and he's going to see it as a woman that he can't identify as. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. There's definitely a disconnect there. But the beautiful thing about kids is that kids don't really notice those things.
Right.
So
but
like,
I still think
with your son like gravitating towards this character, you can question, like, well, what is it that he's you know, you can question where it is. Like, is this a genuine, like, hey, this is the guy he likes? Or does he feel kind of like pressured? Like, oh, well.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He likes them both.
If you're white, you have to like white people kind of thing.
No. Don't get me wrong. He likes them both. And like I held like it was like a little Spider-Man stuffed animal that he wanted. And I was like, which one you want? And he went with Miles. So
right.
But he loves them both.
That could just be that he's
the costume. Maybe he likes the costume. I'm thinking that, maybe it's me with the programming thinking like, oh, it's representation, but it's just like, oh, he likes the costume better. John said, I have to ask my one relationship question. It's the time, brother. Let's do it. We're winding down, so let's go for it.
How do you feel about sacrificing one of your dating requirements because you really like a person? Ooh. I don't think you should ever sacrifice your requirements. I think if you hold your standards high, and you wait, you're going to, find something that is meant for you. When you start lowering your standards, it's because it could be because you're just lonely. You're so desperate.
And I say you gotta have your boundaries. And when you start making your boundaries bigger, that's when you start getting disrespected and everything.
Yeah, so I would stand for, or you'll stand for anything.
Yes, I would agree. I'm 100% in agreement with this one. It's if you have that list of like, I don't want her to do this, and she ends up doing it and challenging.
What's the dating requirement though? I think we need a little more detail. Come on, man. Spill the tea.
That is true. Like, what is she doing that you don't like? Because you could, you could address it and nip it in the butt. That's another thing. Like, there's some things like, listen, I know that Lynn hates it when I say, women have a natural desire to be submissive. Mm-hmm. Like, they like that. So if you correct her in the butt, she might want to change that. She may say, oh, if I might. If not, keep it moving. There's plenty of them out there.
Wait, you also have to remember, you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who you want to change, because then you don't really like that person if you want to change them.
I don't think it's changing. It's just nipping bad action in the bud.
Mm-hmm. It could, but that's why I'm saying, like, we need more context, because it could just be a bad habit. Maybe she like picks her teeth and it's freaking annoying.
It could be something. It could be something like, because she's been out here dating with all these dudes and she knows how to do these shit tests and push buttons and all that. Maybe she's trying to do that with you, and you just gotta let her know, I'm not that dude. I'm not that kind of dude. I'm a different level, and if you want to be around me, you gotta act differently. That's it. Like, I'm not gonna put up for that. That's it.
All right. So a little background. Okay. So I met a woman. She's 32 and she's an attorney. I met her while doing some work at her company, like with her company. We went on a lunch date same day that I met her. Okay, so those initial sparks started flying. I like it. We've been talking every day for like 5 days straight. Okay.
Seems like it's going on the right path.
All right, drum roll. What's the issue?
And then the red flag.
She's 32. She's an attorney. That means, like she aspires to be something, So a few days ago, she tells me out of the blue that she has a 4-year-old daughter. Okay. Ooh. Is it the daughter? Is it that she's married? What's going on here?
He doesn't know. It's only been a few days.
Maybe you don't. So maybe it's that he doesn't like dating moms.
And I would tell you don't. Personally, I gave him a chance. I personally gave your mom a chance, and from my grievances, I would tell you to avoid it.
Mm-hmm. So I have nothing against women with kids. I just never dated women with kids because it's kind of complicated for me. It is. It's very true.
I would tell you to avoid it. It's the daughter. Yeah. So that's the issue. It's the daughter. Honestly, I would tell you to avoid it. Mm-hmm. That's just me. I would say keep moving. There's a lot of fishes in the sea.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I prefer to date somebody without children, even though I have children. I know that's awful to say, but just hear me
Same
out.
Thing. Same.
Hear me out. Just think about it this way. Like, if you involve yourself with this woman, there are other things that are going to be, you're taking on more than just the relationship. You're also taking on the fact that she has a daughter. So that means that now you have to, you have to think like a father with this child, and it's sticky because it's like, well, what does she want you to do with this situation?
You are moving way too fast.
It's very complicated.
You're moving way too fast, and this is what women do. And this is
no,
all right. This is where we're going to be
in
disagreements.
So hang on, because what I'm saying, I don't mean like you're gonna have to think about this tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're involving yourself with this person, if you see yourself with her in 3 years, at some point you're gonna have to interact with this child.
Exactly. So what I would tell you, drunk, I see your comment, you're like, hey, it's time to get cold outside. Cool. We are getting to cuffing season. If you want to cuff, cool. But as soon as she tries to bring the daughter around, you'd be like, no, I'm dating you for now. And I don't even know if me and you are gonna work. So you got to nip that right in the butt and say that your daughter's your daughter. That's you. That's over there. I don't want to meet her. I don't want to have nothing to do with her. Right now, it's just we're getting the feelers to see if me and you are right. And if she's like, oh, how long that's going to take? I was like, I don't know, to be honest with you, because I don't even know where we're going. So you got to have that boundary. If you really do want to date her, you got to have that boundary to say, I'm just dating you. I'm not dating you and your daughter. Mm-hmm. And this is where a lot of kids mess up, and this is where a lot of moms mess up too. This is where a lot of dudes mess up, a lot of mothers mess up too, because it's like they want to bring the family real quick, and it's like no, let's not do that. Mm-hmm. Let's not do that yet, because she has a mom, she has a dad. I'm not ready to be that yet. I'm just here to date you, and if she's not comfortable with that, then you gotta move. You gotta keep it moving.
She pressed me too. Work stuff. I'm not catching a sexual harassment case, but she pressed me, and I kind of like that she was aggressive. I kind of like that.
Well, then, like I said, you just got to have your boundaries. So I would, if you want to date her, you could even date her short term. If it doesn't end up, hey, you have made memories short term. But if you're not ready to be a stepdad and you're not ready to step up to that, then you gotta say like, listen, I'm dating you.
She's kind of the whole package.
But she could be, but then in another sense, listen, this is why I keep telling, like, I tell men that you got to separate the two. Like, I get it. She's like, you're seeing the eyes and you're like, ooh, googly eyes. Cool. But you got to understand that the way she is as a woman may not be the way she is as a mother. And like, for you to come around, a lot, this is why I say to a lot of guys, don't do it, is because they for you to step up and then want to say like let's say you go into that role and you want to be stepdad and you want to discipline that little girl. Most mothers are like, no, don't yell at my kid. Most mothers will be like, don't do this, don't do that. And so you got to understand that as you're coming in. See, I was blessed when I came in. I was like, you want to play the role of dad? You're dad. And then she was like, listen to him, do this, everything else. So I was able to then be that, masculine role that I was trying to fulfill, right? Trying to fall into. So it's like, you got to understand that coming in. And this is why I say, get to know her first. Get to know her, date her first. Don't get the daughter involved. Where I know most people are like, oh, 3 dates in and now they're meeting the kids. It's like,
that's fast. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm thinking of telling her, let's do 2 months and see where it goes. So that's actually a great idea. Like when we start a job or something, we always have like that 90-day, probation period where we're testing the waters. So pitch that to her and say, hey, like I'm willing to do like a 3-month commitment where it's like, we're both getting to know each other. We're taking ourselves off the market kind of thing. We're trying to see where this goes. Let's see if there's, something here because we like each other. But there's nothing wrong with that, with setting that time and saying, hey, after this 3 months, we might be like, this isn't for us, either one of us.
Also, is she willing to have more kids? Mm-hmm. Because you may not be looking for kids now. I get it. But at some point, you're going to want your own seed. All men are like that. We like our legacy. We like our seed. And even if it's just one child that is yours, you're fine. Listen, if there is a sense of being emasculated that you're raising another man's children if you don't at least have your own seed. So that's one thing you got to be, you got to ask her, are you willing to have more kids? And she is 32, so I don't know. And if her career is good, modern women and their careers, they may not want to put a career aside to have more kids. So this is why I keep saying, like,
I don't have
kids. Go slow.
The thing is, I don't have kids, so I always dated women who didn't have kids. See, that whole stepdaddy stuff is complicated. I'm not built for that.
You say that now, but most guys say that. Most guys are like, "Oh, I'm not ready for a kid," and then the kid happens, and they're like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm going to be a dad," and then they end up being a great dad. It's like we're never ready because we're always like, what are men programmed for? We're just, we want to conquer, right? We just want to conquer as many women as we can. We're not programmed for that whole daddy stuff. Me, on the other way, I feel like I was always programmed for that. It's like I wanted to be settled down by like 20. She does want more kids. Okay, so that's a good sign. But I would stress on getting to know her and date her first. Date her first.
Mm-hmm.
I would even say 6 months, man. Don't rush. Take 6 months into it. 6 months, and then you slowly meet the daughter if that's what you want to do, and then see where it goes. And then,
man, that's tough too, though. Like if you date somebody for 6 months and you really like this person, and then you meet her kid, and she has a spoiled ass kid, mad disrespectful. Nobody wants to be around that kid. Like then what? Your emotions are involved.
Then you break up. You listen. You gotta first. This is what people don't understand. It's like you need the time to get over puppy love.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And right now, drunk has definitely got googly eyes.
Hell yeah, you.
And listen, no offense. I love drunk, but this is why I got time is the equalizer of all relationships. Mm-hmm. Time is the equalizer of all relationships. You got to give it time. So you're like, 2 months. No, 2 months is too quick because in 2 months you're gonna be still puppy love. Yeah. You got to give it time where you started having that first argument. You're starting to have that second argument where you're starting to go into the repetitiveness of relationships. And it's not just fun. It's not just exciting. It's like woo, woo, woo anymore. It's starting to like hit in like, okay, we're in the 6 months. Shit, even with a kid, I would say even wait a year, man. But see, people look at me like I'm crazy when I say wait that long.
I feel like I always wanted to get married and have the before the kid fun. But it's like the kid's already here. Mm-hmm. This may sound bad, but if I knew she had a kid from day one, I would have never went on the date. But she hid that on purpose. Yeah. See? Now she says it just never came up.
I mean, to me, like I said, there's a lot of there's a lot of red flags for me. Me personally, I would just keep it moving. I'd be like, thank you, whatever. But listen, most of the time. I just stopped like replying to people. I don't really ghost them, but I'm not excited with it no more. And eventually they just go their separate ways. Like we drifted apart kind of deal. That's how I normally do it. I'm just like, oh yeah. Oh no, I have plans to like maybe next time. And then we just drift away. Time goes by. Listen, I'm telling you, time is the best equalizer in all relationships. I'm telling you.
They say that too, like if you're really into someone and you're trying to make like big decisions and stuff, you should go an entire week without seeing or speaking to them.
Yep. I think I told you that.
A week and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I told you that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told you that. Like every guy who I'm like, they're all excited about getting married and all this. And it's like it's been short term. I'm like, all right, take a week or two. Don't see them. Don't be around them. And then see what is it that you missed about them. I'm not saying ghost. I'm just saying, ghost says going hard, cold turkey, not answering or anything. I'm not saying do that either. I'm just saying do it where it's just like you're not putting much effort into it. So it just feels like you guys are drifting apart. Mm-hmm. And then you both see it like, oh, we're just kind of drifting apart. It's not the same anymore. That's what I'm saying. Sounds you got the itis. You got the one itis. You're starting to put her on a pedestal, brother, and she got red flags. You already see the red flags. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. What you need to do is cut her off and go on a date.
Yeah, I think the fact that she didn't say anything about her kid, like you guys were talking every day and she didn't say anything till like day 4, that is a little bit of a red flag. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like even like for me as a single mom, I have had like dating profiles and I put it right in my dating profile. I have 3 kids and in my profile, I usually say like they have their fathers. I'm not looking to play house. But you have to be honest about that because that's a whole part of her. That's a whole, like, her entire life, every decision she makes, what she should be doing is thinking about her daughter first, you know? Like, you guys could be, like, experiencing, you know, a beautiful sunset on the beach, I don't know, in Hawaii, and she gets a phone call. Now she has to find a flight to get home because her number one is her daughter. So it's a tough situation dating a mom.
I'm not saying to go on a date. You've only seen her what five? What was it? It's only been 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
You're not exclusive. All I'm saying is not. I'm not telling you to ghost her. I'm just telling you to keep your options open. You're sounding like you're shutting down your doors. Go back on Tinder, find another date, and go on another date. You're not exclusive. Guarantee she's probably still doing that too.
Oh man, I was like 1 a.m. We was on FaceTime and she was like, I gotta take my daughter to the dentist tomorrow. I'm like, what? Oh my God. So you guys are FaceTiming.
That tells me a lot of things though. Like, does she really have a daughter, or she's just trying to get off the call? Like, is it? Who has a daughter? I don't know, man. You never know. 5 days is nothing. That's nothing, brother. You caught her on a Tuesday, bro. What happened this weekend? Come on, man. You listen, Halloween's around the corner. You know how many freaking Halloween parties you could go to? Cop a conversation. There's a lot of shorties out here, man. There's a lot of shorties. You could easily get a couple of numbers during the Halloween season. No, she has a daughter. She sent me the pic. Okay. All right. I was like, that's just an excuse.
I don't have social media, so I can't investigate women, which I kind of like. That shouldn't stop you from investigating people, though. What are you doing? You type her name into Google.
How hard do you investigate, Lynn? Do you go in?
Do I go in? No, but I have investigators in my circle. So
you Google names?
I stick my girls on them. I'm like, yo, I need to find everything I can about this guy. And sure enough, bloop, bloop, bloop,
you find, bloop, it's all out there. That's why I constantly Google my name to see what's out there. Like, yo, what is out there on me?
Yeah, that's important to do, though. You need to know what's linked to your name.
You definitely do. I'm telling you, man, you're getting the one-itis, and you shouldn't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
And I mean, of course, it feels good. You know, that puppy love always feels good. That initial connection, those sparks, like, ooh, I can't wait till they call, kind of thing. But I do agree with Ray. You do need to take this slow. Take it slow.
You're not exclusive
and look for the
yet.
Flags, look for the flags. Don't ignore them. Don't just say, oh, like, this is going to be great. Like, no, you know your boundaries, you should know yourself.
All I can tell you is if you're really feeling this much for her, call your boy up and plan on going to some kind of Halloween party this year. Be like, yo, we're going to get costumes and we're going to go out to a Halloween party and plan on doing that at least. If you're starting to get the feels this fast. Like, balance it out just a little bit. Do something crazy and go out there and just kind of calm down that one-itis you're starting to get.
Question for Lynn. If I had sex with her knowing this is an issue and I may cut her off, am I a douchebag? I don't think so. Because if she's willing to sleep with you before feeling like there's something more there, then whatever, it can be out. Like, I don't know. For me,
she's a grown-ass woman.
Just anyone, like, it's gonna take more than taking me to lunch to get in my bed. So if she's like, if you get to that place with her this quickly anyway, then it's something that she's opening herself to.
Right. So no, don't feel guilty for that. She's a grown-ass woman. She got to be held accountable for her own actions.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Telling you, Halloween's coming up, my guy.
And this Halloween.
No, because listen, this is what you got to understand about dating. Right now, it's like he said, it's getting cold outside. Halloween is your gateway for cuffing season. So I get it. You want to have somebody for the holidays all the way up to Valentine's Day. That's cuffing season. Cool. Halloween is the way to get them. get a costume, go out there. You could easily, listen, you don't even need to have game. You could just go up to somebody and be like, I like your costume. I like it too. Next thing you know, you're hitting it off. Halloween's the time to come. And now you can get somebody who doesn't have kids, doesn't have all this drama. Maybe you can hit it off, but you should be weeding anyway. You're not exclusive. You should still be dating. This is what a lot of guys do. Like, we find the one and we're just like, oh, pedestal, put her on a pedestal. And it's like, you didn't get to weed out. So you're ignoring all of the red flags you have in front of you because you already put her on that pedestal. And we shouldn't do that. Like, we should know that we have options and we should be out here.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like you should have known that she was a mom before. Like, it's almost like that bait and switch kind of thing. Like,
it's not really, not yet.
I don't know. I feel like 5 days.
It's not a bait and switch yet because she hasn't used her power yet. The most important thing, they haven't slept with each other yet.
Okay.
So it hasn't gotten that level. They're still just talking. They're still chatting. Things are coming out. They're discovering each other. So now it came out in discovery. That's fine. But it's like, I get it. I get it, man. You're
all right. Listen, so he is talking to a few women. I'm talking to a few women who don't have kids, but the convo just isn't as good. Yes. Lynn says I'm supposed to be Professor X. I don't think Professor X is the right costume. Don't go with that one.
No, go. I'm telling you, Halloween, man. Now's the time to do it. It's a perfect holiday.
Halloween is good, but not as Professor X.
No. But I'm telling you, call your boy. Plan on going. Say, man, some of the Halloween. Me and Lynn, we went to some crazy Halloween party.
Let us know where the Halloween party is, because
the Halloween party is in DC. Oh my God, it was some good times, bro. Some good times.
We went to a Halloween party one year where they gave a $10,000 cash prize to the best dressed costume. $10,000. What?
No, I don't think Lynn meant that. No, I don't think Lynn meant that. I think Lynn saying that she knew she had a kid. She should have told you that from day one.
She should have.
Lynn is definitely on your side, Junk.
Yeah, I am, because I feel like that's really deceitful. Like, you're telling me that you saw her in a work environment or whatever. She didn't pull out her phone and have like her daughter as a screensaver. She doesn't have a necklace that says "Mom."
Listen, once again,
I'm judging her woman to woman.
Once again, they haven't slept with each other, so nothing has been elevated yet. So this is the defense. At least the defense I'm giving her is that they haven't elevated it yet,
You guys walked around the corner for lunch? Like, you didn't walk her to her car? Did she have a car seat? Like, I have questions.
Lynn is so mad. Lynn's like, you should have came up like the first time. You trying to holler at me? I got a kid. Oh man.
But seriously, like, how are you FaceTiming her, talking to her for days, and like you never heard the kid in the background? Like,
But you know what though? Good on her for not mentioning the kid, because she's trying to find a man. She's trying to date somebody. She's not trying to find a baby daddy.
That's true.
So she's over here like, let me get to know you first before I mention my kid. As long as I'm making time for our dates and all that. Once it starts getting serious, then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I got 5 kids.
Yes, they walk to a bistro. Right, you're not really looking for that stuff. I don't know, man.
Oh, listen, you could keep talking to her, but you're not exclusive. Halloween's coming up.
I think that's a good point to make. I feel like we start talking to people and suddenly you
think we're exclusive.
You're just like Ray calls
Focus,
it.
You put all your
you're like
put
your
all your energy on that one person. Yeah.
Yep. You're like, oh, I like this, and then like I really want to develop this, cultivate this, and you kind of lose sight of what else is around you.
Right. Until you put labels on what you guys are, you're not exclusive. So if there's no labels, you still have your options, and you should continue to pursue your options. Now, if you don't want to keep swiping on Tinder, cool, but you should still be going out with the boys, still going out with the fellas, still doing guys things, do all that stuff. still talking, still, you know, meeting new people and keeping your options open because you're not exclusive. You're not. That's all I can harp on. You're not exclusive.
I just know when you date somebody with kids, it's easy to become attached to their children. And now you're settling and you're accepting just bullshit.
Bad behavior.
Because you're like, oh my God, you
It's
know, I'm attached to the kid. The kid really likes me. You know, it's complicated and sticky and
hooray, man. It sounds like you're down that path. He's gonna be sending us, we're gonna get an email one day from Junker. It's gonna be the Halloween, the holiday greeting.
The holiday Christmas card.
Yeah,
the Christmas card with the family photo. Oh my God.
Like, no,
Drunk is allergic to cats. He's gonna be holding the cat.
And then by Valentine's Day, they're broken up.
Oh man. No, but I think Ray gave solid advice with the 6 months, and just giving it time.
If you do listen to that 6 months, that's leading into springtime. So that's when you know you're testing your feelings because you're going into spring, summer, and you really want to be exclusive with somebody. Because right now you want to be exclusive because it's getting cold. You're like, I want somebody to cuddle with. I get it, but it's like, you know, give yourself 6 months, and then you see all the, you know, the little. The spring dress popping up, and you're like, "Damn, I'm out." he's like, poof! It's like his little shadow. It's just a smoke figure. He's out. Oh man. Oh.
You know what? I definitely think you should pursue it, even if it's just for the validation that you did run into somebody just by chance, you know, through life, and you guys did hit it off, and you know, you're enjoying yourself. You're feeling great, and you should pursue it for a little bit at least. See what happens.
I didn't say.
But again, what you stand for,
not
man.
Exclusive.
What you stand for. Because you start letting things slide. I'm telling you, man. You start letting things slide. Next thing you know, you're looking at your situation. You're like, how did I get to this point? And it's because when you see those red flags, you're not holding your ground. So
yes, you don't have that boundaries. You're making excuses for your boundaries, and the next thing you know, like Lynn said, you can fall in love with the child. You're like, oh, I want to do this. You're all invested in being that stepdad, and yet the mother is a horrible person.
Right.
And it's because she lost all respect for you because you didn't stand your grounds and your boundaries. So, and she has money. Yeah. True.
Exactly.
Once again, Drunk, it's not complicated. Just keep your options open. That's it. Just feel it out. You're still getting to know her just like you would anybody else. You're just getting to know her. And if she ends up, you know, if you kept your options open and none of those options were valid and you see something more with her, then hey, there's a lot of mixed families out there. As long as she's open to having another kid and she's willing to have your kid, hey, then it can work. But I'm just telling you, don't rush into it. Keep your options open.
I'll probably get tired of her in a week, and those will be irrelevant. But right now, it's
2 weeks when you go to that Halloween party, my guy. I don't know words. So bad. Listen, that sexy kitten, man. I'm telling you, that little sexy kitty. You're like, damn. That cat had an ass. Man, what are you planning on doing for Halloween? What's your costume going to be this year?
I think I'm going to be a vampire this year.
Vampire?
Yeah.
With the kids. I mean, are we going to a Halloween party?
Well, yeah, but you know what? I'll probably find a costume like the day of when you're like, hey, this party's happening.
That is true.
I'll be like, I got to run to the store real quick.
Yeah. Yo, we should find a Halloween party. We should go, you and the girls. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Find a great Halloween party. Man, we haven't been to a Halloween party since like 2019.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Before Kofifi.
Yeah, let's get turned. Should we just go to the same spot where they would do like 10 grand? If we go to that spot, Lynn's gonna go in. Lynn's gonna go in. She's gonna go on Pinterest and she's gonna find a real good costume. She's like 10 grand. I gotta find.
I don't have to find anything good because the one that won was kind of whack.
No, what are you talking about? His costume was like 8 foot tall.
It was just really big. That was all it was. Yeah. It was just really big. It was basically the guy grabbed like one of those like decorations that you put in front of your house that has like the long blanket on it or whatever. He added more blankets on it and then just held it above his head. Well, he was just hiding under there.
Wasn't like a poison ivy? Wasn't the girl like a poison ivy that was dressed up?
And yeah, but like she didn't win.
Yeah. She didn't win.
There was an octopus up on stage. She had like an umbrella with shit hanging. She didn't win. Like
some good costumes, man. I don't even know if they really got 10 grand. That's like, I don't think they gave them that kind of money.
All right, guys, man. That concludes another episode of The Couch Show.
Thank you so much for the comments.
Day. Stay positive. Hold on to the good vibes. And we'll see you guys on the Thursday show. Thursday morning.
Thursday's going to be good. We're going to be talking about robots. Let's go. Where's the end scene?